Hello my dear YouTuber friends, and I do hope you're all keeping well. Welcome to this new video. Look, eventually I'm going to get a review out for the XPC Honeycomb Yoke. This was kindly sent to me by Honeycomb themselves. I'm going to discuss that in this video because I got quite a surprising email from them. Probably looking at this saying, oh, that's a different setup, Hudson. Well, this was my original intent. Honeycomb were going to actually send me the XPC Yoke and Bravo. They only sent me the XPC Yoke and Hub, which is absolutely fine. Because originally, I won't get into this now, but when I pre-ordered the system on day one, the XPC Yoke, I pre-ordered this extra Logitech Throttle quadrant because I wanted to show you an alternate setup that's roughly the same cost as the Velocity 1 Yoke setup. So this was my original intent. There's a couple of issues on this. I do have it in Xbox mode with the hub, with the Logitech Throttle quadrant plugged in, which mainly works. There's one or two issues with that. Running on my Series S, with even my flight stick plugged in, mainly so I can use the Velocity 1 rudder pedals. And it does all work to some extent. I'll be showing you that in this video, and obviously giving you my overall thoughts about this yoke. Bit of a spoiler, it does have some incredible features with this which I will be sharing. So okay, let's not dilly-dally. Let's get on with this video. Okay, so before I share my impressions of the XPC Yoke, which is the main part of this video really, I'll do that in a moment. Let me just share the email I got one Saturday evening, quite surprising, from a chap, you may recognise the name, Nicky. It's either Repening or Repenning. I do apologise, Nicky, if I've mispronounced your name there. I'll show you on screen a snippet of it. This was an extra long video, but I'll show you a snippet of what he wrote to me. Good morning, Hudson. I stumbled upon your Alpha XPC video on YouTube this morning. I was quite honestly mortified when I heard about your experience and cancellation experience with our customer service department. If you didn't know, I ordered the XPC Yoke day one, and that day one, a lot of us in the UK, our orders were cancelled. I'm a firm believer that people are the most valuable asset in a company, and creating a positive work environment where people feel appreciated also creates a motivated and stable workforce. And you can read the rest for yourself there. Saying basically, it's not making excuses. He just wanted to personally apologise. Remember, this is just a snippet. The email's 3 times the size of this. If you're willing to give us another chance, I would like to send you the Alpha and Bravo free of charge to show that we care about our customers and actually provide a good customer service. They did send me the XPC and Hub. I'm quite happy with that. I did have to pay, and he did explain this in the email later on, I did have to pay a bit of a import charge. I paid £77, not a bad deal really. This would cost me over £300, so I paid £77 for the import charges. But that's by the by, there's nothing you could do about that. Make of what you will of that email. He didn't have to send it. He went on. He's going to apparently put me in their media list. He copied me in on 2 more emails. One for the distribution of the XPC Yoke, and one to another chap to put me on their media list for future products. I think that's outstanding. It's not just an outstanding email generally. This has come from the CEO of the company. He's gone above and beyond. Listen, board of directors on Honeycomb, give your chap a pat on the back. I hope somebody watches this from Honeycomb. Nicky really deserves a round of applause for that. And he's trying to make amends. I just think that's excellent. It's very touching as well. I'm not a massive channel, yet he reached out personally to me. Listen, thank you, Nicky. Okay, let's go over some of the features of the Honeycomb Yoke. Firstly, I think the actual grilling there, the red, I'll give you a closer look at that. Many videos don't do this for you. It's a nice effect. I don't believe, let me know if I'm wrong, that there's a way of changing the colour of that. I do wonder if that's a psychological tactic by Honeycomb. Gives you that kind of angry, red feeling, you know, let's go fly. I would prefer a green, a shade of green or blue behind that colour with that. If anybody knows how to change that, do let me know. Well, there you go. Now, the stand, you'll notice I don't have any clamps. I don't know if you know about the Alpha Yoke, the Honeycomb, but it does come with a 3M sticker on the actual. You get a sort of stand to put the yoke on. Comes with a big 3M sticker. I'll try and show you something on screen. I peeled all the sort of film off the yokes, and I've peeled that off the big sticker, not realising. And I thought, well, now I've peeled it off, I might as well give it a try. And it holds really firmly. Glad to say. And apparently you can reuse that sticker as well. Big sticker on the bottom of the stand which the yoke sits on. So there you go. I'll show you a picture as well. Try to at the back of the yoke. It's a bit different from the original Alpha. You've got the lead. I think it's USB 3 type lead, isn't it? Or mini, I'm not sure. Anyway, lead that will go to your PC, or in my case at the moment, to my Xbox. You've got a slot there for the hub. So you can plug the hub in as well and plug your peripherals into the hub. And then you've got a switch to switch between the Xbox and PC. I've got it in Xbox mode at the moment. There you go, that's slightly different. I believe a lot of it's like having a Logitech switch panel. All these switches do work, by the way. If you're in the sim, I'll be showing you this a bit later. All these lights, they all work. And the starter switch. Just beware, if you first get this, you might find this in the off position. Put it on both, because you're not going to get enough RPM to take off and fly properly otherwise. It caught me out. And you've got some Xbox branded buttons down here, and I believe the rest of it, a couple of rocker switches here, a couple of buttons, one hat switch, and a couple more up and down rocker switches here, and a couple of buttons, one here and one at the back of the handle here. I think the rest of it's pretty similar to the original Alpha. Well, listen, that's enough of an overview of what the XPC Yoke is and what you get with it. Let's now jump full screen into the sim and give you my impressions of this XPC Yoke. Okay, so here we are, full screen on the Series S. Let me just bring in the camera footage of my yoke. So you can see I've got that in the main view. Hopefully you can just about see the Logitech throttle quadrant. I want to concentrate your focus on the yoke itself. That's the important thing. I've got the Velocity 1 flight stick installed. Now it's a funny thing, this mouse can sometimes work when you go for a flight and come back out. It doesn't work when you first load in with the Velocity 1 flight stick and rudder pedals installed. Come back out to the main menu. The gamepad starts working again. It's a confliction. You're going to find many conflictions, I'm afraid. Certainly on the Series S. I don't know about the Series X. People can let me know about that if you have the same setup. There are a few conflictions going on. One confliction. Control panels. Let me just show you. I've got the Alpha flight controls selected. If you've got the Logitech throttle quadrant, I believe even the Bravo plugged into your hub and XPC Yoke, you're just going to get one box, which makes a difference. Well, actually, it's always the same, isn't it? On Xbox, you don't get separate boxes for each, like the throttle quadrants and goodness knows what. And probably even the Charlie rudder pedals, it will all come under the one box, or one profile, rather. So, just want to quickly show you something. The buttons on the bottom, you're probably not going to be able to see it from this view. I'll show you a picture on screen. The buttons on the bottom of the throttle quadrant, so T1 to T6, they do not work. I've not got them to work with the Series S plugged into the Xbox hub, or Honeycomb hub. If you have the Series X and you've got them to work, let me know. You're going to have the same setup, the Logitech throttle quadrant, plugged into the Xbox hub, or Honeycomb hub rather. I'll show you what happens. I'll go search by input, press T1 for example. Nothing. I don't get any register. Pressing any of them. Sometimes it will give you some jarbled numbers, but trust me, none of them work. Let's do it again. Press T6. So those buttons essentially are missed real estate. I can't use them. Thankfully, things like the let's just stop flashing. Things like the levers do work. So not primary flight controls, power management, throttle. You can see there the throttle lever work. I guess that's the important thing, isn't it? The levers work. Mixture, I've got the red one set to mixture. That works fine. And the propeller one works as well. I don't need to show you that. They all work. You've got some default bindings like the lights. So all these buttons down here. Yep, they all work fine. Lovely tactile feeling and switches. The starter switch works as well. The avionics and master switches. They all work fine and they're mapped by default. There's some camera settings which I've changed around. More the external view. It was set to quick view external. I've changed it around to pan around smoothly externally. And I'll just show you the sensitivities. Ailerons and elevator are mapped by default. There's no sensitivities on the Series S by default, so I've just put some sensitivities in. These are just test sensitivities. They may or may not be my final ones. But the elevator, pushing it backwards and forwards. -19 in both the plus and minus sensitivities. Left everything else alone. And the ailerons, left and right. You're banking. -35 in both the plus and minus sensitivities. Everything else I've left by default. You've got sensitivities for your levers. I've just left them default. No sensitivities set. I'll leave that on screen in case you want to copy them. But you can set your own sensitivities up, essentially. Okay, I won't go into too much more detail there. I guess you're all eager to go for a test flight. Let's do that. World map. Honeycomb International Cessna 172 there. Set as departure. I think I've got a few clouds. It's good to have some clouds. Oh, no, I don't. Let's put it on to a few clouds. It's good to have some clouds, especially over England, let's face it. London. And let's go fly. So here we are, Honeycomb International Cessna 172 there in external mode. I can use this hat switch here. Pan around smoothly. I've just set them up myself in external mode. When you get internal, yeah, it's just quick views left and right, and by default it takes you through the instrument views. I wonder where you got that idea from, Honeycomb, or was it always there with the alpha? I didn't copy it, it's just that came naturally to me in my original settings way back when I did the Logitech ones, I believe. Doesn't matter, anyway. Let's throttle up. Like, shame these buttons down here don't work. I can't set a parking brake button. I have to use this button as my parking brake, or I've just set it as my parking brake. I've got my rudder pedals attached. You can't see that on screen probably, but I am using my Velocity 1 flight rudder pedals. And we'll just get up. Oh, I didn't show you the master buttons. These all work. Just take my notice. If you want to start the aircraft up from cold and dark, you can do, which is a nice little feature. Let's get on with the yoke though. Now, I don't have the Bravo throttle quadrant, so I'm using these rocker switches for elevator trim. These are set up by default, so I'm going to take advantage of them and use both of them. You can use one or both of them, so set them up which way you prefer. I like them both set up as elevator trim. It just gives it a nice feel. Not as good as a trim wheel, of course. So if you have the Bravo, you're going to be better off there. What's going on with my photogrammetry scenery? I am on a Series S, I guess you got to expect it, but I do have the rolling cache on. I'll have to investigate that. It doesn't look very nice around London. Oh dear. Oh well, maybe it'll update. Nothing I can do about that for the moment. Anyway, throttle works fine. Let's just bring it back a bit so I'm not over revving. Just do a quick flight. How does the yoke feel? Like I showed you, I've set some sensitivities. It's got a lovely fluid. You can feel those Hall effect sensors in operation. Very fluid. Both the elevators and ailerons. Absolutely no trouble. People are saying the elevator's too stiff. I've not found that personally. Would be nice, I guess, to have it a little bit looser. It may become looser over time. There's certainly no stickiness to it at all. It's just very, very fluid. I've never flown a real Cessna, but I can imagine this is exactly how it feels. You can set your own sensitivities there. It's got a very, I've not felt anything quite like that with another yoke system currently. So very fluid, very nice feeling. What should we do, chaps? Let's throttle back a bit. Not too much, but I'm going to turn back towards London City. Now, I don't have flaps set up on my controls here, but I do have my gamepad to hand, so I'll put it into stage 1 flaps as I'm turning. All the wrong things to do, as that horrible scenery updates around us. Never mind. It's more about the yoke. Keep your mind on the yoke, chaps. Very fluid, very nice indeed. And even as I'm turning, I can use my elevator and ailerons at the same time with no confliction, no stickiness. Just, should I say that again? Very fluid. Let's change that. It's just a very nice transition when you're using the elevator and ailerons together. There. Very nice feeling with absolutely no confliction whatsoever. Now, coming in, what speed are we? We're fine. Let's put another stage of flaps in. Make sure that's gone in. Yep, certainly has. Just push forward on my yoke a little bit. Yeah, I'm just not personally finding it an issue with the elevator. But then again, I didn't find issue with the Velocity 1 flight stick, and people found that too stiff. I don't think you want it overly stiff. Now, I can imagine probably in the real thing, the yoke's a little bit looser than that in the elevator. Very fluid. Look, small movements, and it's behaving and responding perfectly. It's a step above other yokes in that respect that I've tried so far. Oh, horrible scenery. Look at that bridge just before. I don't think I have London City Airport add-on pack installed on my Series S. If I have it on my Series S, full stop. Not sure I do. Using the Xbox version on the Series S as I'm flying towards the airport here, and the Steam version on the PC, and you can't use the Steam version on the Series S, of course, so it's a different version. I have to buy everything all over again. It's a bit of a shame. There we go, coming towards the airport, bit low there. Just increase my, actually just put a bit of elevated trim nose up there. Oh, I'm trimming down. My bad. Anyway. You get the point. Even with a couple of mistakes there, just used to using trim wheel, I have to get back to using buttons on this. There we go. We'll just decrease our throttle there. We can float this. We'll do a long landing, long floaty landing. What a lovely feeling yoke. There we go. Oh, we have touched down already, that's fine. Oh, remember I've got my rudder pedals attached. Keep forgetting about them. Feet back on the rudder pedals. You're not seeing that, but trust me. Bring my throttle way back now. Raise my flaps. And we'll just come off the runway there. Park and brake on. So there you go, chaps. That's a test flight with the yoke itself. It's got a lovely, like I said, lovely fluid feeling. It's a very plasticky feeling yoke. They all are in this price range, but it's got a nice feeling when you're holding it, and it's got a nice smooth feeling. Yeah, it's just a very nice yoke to use. Okay, so let me take you to my conclusion and recommendations. So, conclusion and recommendations time. Would I recommend this particular setup? Let's just start with that for the Xbox. Now, on the Series S, I showed you these buttons don't work. Can someone test that if you have this setup on the Series X and let us know down in the comments? Certainly on the Series S, assuming it's the same on the Series X. Wouldn't recommend this particular setup, although it's cheaper than buying the Bravo unit. At least the levers work. And all these buttons work in the axis and all those buttons there. And if you've got something like the Velocity 1 flight stick or Hold Task 1 and a set of rudder pedals, they work fine. There is a bit of a confliction in the sim on the Xbox with that, but you can get by with it. If you can spend a little bit more and get the Bravo, that's obviously going to elevate your experience. But for the yoke itself, without hesitation. Now, these buttons all work fine on PC. There's even mounting slots in the top there, I assume for something like the Logitech multi-panel radio panel that I've got hiding in the back there. Expect a future video on that, because this, with that, you don't need the hub on PC. And the radio panel and multi-panel, it's going to cost you around maybe £400 if you shop around there. You're not going to have a bad setup, especially if you've got a set of rudder pedals, which you can plug directly into PC. Watch out for a future video on that. Like I said though, for the XPC Yoke, I felt nothing like it. The fluidity, that sort of 4x resolution, the Hall effect sensors all come into play. It feels realistic. Feels like no other yoke that it gives you an experience like that I've experienced with no other yoke on Xbox or PC. Feels highly realistic. And it's probably one of the best yokes per se on the market in that price range. But do let me know your thoughts below. I don't want to do a direct comparison with the Velocity 1 Flight Yoke. Both have their positives and disadvantages, and I'll go into that in a future video. Let me know if you would like to see that. I'm assuming a lot of people would. Let me know your thoughts on this video though. Give it a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it. Subscribe for more, and I'll see you soon.